President Trump kicking off another busy week at the White House.
It has been yet another eventful week in
the activity.
Washington.
The activity level is off the charts. The president dialed in. He is executing his agenda at a lightning fast pace. Here's something we rarely see in American politics. President Trump is actually keeping his campaign promises, and he's doing them as quickly as possible.
This administration is moving at political light speed, and they're just getting started.
We're going to have one shot at this. And no other president's going to do what I'm doing. Goodbye. We love you. We will be back in some form. Have a good life. We will see you soon. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Official, former President Donald Trump will be running for president again in 2024.
Donald Trump got the stamina and the will to do this again? He's come under such tremendous...
Everything is on the line in this election.
A busy day in the campaign world up in Butler today. Former President Trump holding a rally at 5 o'clock.
They just tried to kill President Trump.
Not even an assassin's bullet could stop him.
It feels like the climax of a superhero movie. The first act, up 2016, the second act, 2020, the third act, he almost dies, and then what happens?
Donald Trump will become the 47th president of the United States.
Rare in American politics, a presidential sequel.
He believes he has a, quote, mandate to bring common sense back to the country.
It's our time to take up the righteous cause of American liberty and begin the most thrilling days in the history of our country. This will be our greatest era. With God's help, over the next 4 years, we are going to lead this nation even higher, and we are going to forge the freest, most advanced, most dynamic, and most dominant civilization ever to exist on the face of this earth.
He has the opportunity to reset everything around the world.
Under President Trump's leadership, the message to America's enemies is loud and clear. Peace through strength is back.
No amount of hysteria, no amount of fear-mongering is going to shake the president's resolve.
This is the wholesale destruction of the liberal state. He is gutting liberal Washington, D.C. in a way that they say could be permanent.
47 means business. The White House is holding all the cards.
I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success.
The bottom line is whether you like Trump or you don't like him, you can't say that he's coming and not try to deliver, and he's doing so in historic fashion.
A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world, and America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before.
Good morning, Patriots. How you doing today? This is Mike the Patriot coming to you live from the downtown metropolis of Lamont, Missouri. It's beautiful here in Central, with 64 degrees and sunny. It's supposed to be in the low 80s by the time that it's all said and done, and I'll take it. It's better than the hundreds or the high 90s and really humid. Oh, I'll take it. I'll take it. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I will rejoice and be glad in it. And the word of the day, as given by the Lord, brought to you, presented by Marine in the Woods, is Romans 14, 1 through 12. That's Romans 14, 1 through 12. Make sure you crack open the Bible, see what God has for you today, because God is good all the time, and all the time he's good. And the best Bible that you can read is the Holy Spirit Bible. And where do you find that? On your shelf. Crack it open, read it, and ask the Holy Spirit to guide you and interpret for you. That's the best way. Now, people will tell you these conspiracy theories about the Bible. Ask the Holy Spirit. Ask God about those. I'm starting to do that more and more and more. What do you think about this, Lord? Sometimes he answers me, like right away. Sometimes not so much. Maybe, it's privileged information, what he thinks about that. I don't know. When I mentioned it about that demonic lady who was in Wicked, who plays Jesus in Jesus Christ Superstar, his answer was almost immediate to me, and it was, wouldn't it be great if she repented on stage? That was included in that, and gave her life to me. What a testimony that would be. And I said, okay, Lord, I get what you're saying. Your heart is for everyone. So at least in her case, God has not turned her over to her reprobate mind. And I pray that she does do what God said and repents. So we're going to start the show off today with some breaking news. I mean, right now, breaking right now. I don't know if you've heard it or not, but we're going to talk about it. First, the sponsor of the show is Nueva and Nueva Body right here. A little tiny pill. I can't show you the pill because on Facebook and YouTube, they'll take it down for showing a pill. But right here, this little magic potion in a bottle. I'm down 16 pounds since I started taking this product. Down 16 pounds. I have more energy. I feel healthier. I feel better. Combining that with the Snow Collagen, the snaps, the crack, and the creaking and the pops have become less. This has been a game changer for me, far and beyond the products that I was representing with the former company that went out of business. Above and beyond that, the performance is even better. So if you want to get your hands on these products, you want to try them for yourself, see if they work. The products I'm recommending are Nueva Body, Nueva Snow Collagen, and Nueva Nitro, and they're stackable. You take them all together, and it magnifies the effects. The Nitro is absolutely fantastic. Highly, highly recommend. If you want to get your hands on these products, all you got to do is send me a message on Facebook or send me a text message to 660-620-2644 or an email to patriotmikeshow@gmail.com. And I will share the link with you. The link is also in the description section on Rumble. I will share the link with you. You go over there, no obligation, no nothing. You can click on the information about the product, see what's all in it. There's nothing hidden. And it has been absolutely fantastic. But other people that are taking it are reporting to me how much they love the Nitro, how much energy it gives them, all day energy. They can work all day and keep on going. They're reporting to me how much they feel better on the collagen, and they've lost weight, they've lost inches taking the body. And they've just come out with Nueva Beauty, which is even greater. It has the potential to be even greater than the body. And I don't have it down enough to explain it to you, but also I can give you that link and you can go look for yourself. It is absolutely outstanding. And by purchasing these products, you support the Patriot Mike Show, and I appreciate it so much. So let's get started. Breaking news in Rush Limbaugh sort of way, right? Breaking first thing this morning. 7 a.m. this morning, breaking news. This is New York Post. Patel's FBI raids John Bolton's home in high-profile national security probe. Yes, you heard that right. FBI agents raided former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton D.C. area home Friday morning in a high-profile national security probe, the Post can exclusively reveal. Federal agents busted into Bolton's home in Bethesda, Maryland at 7 a.m. in an investigation ordered by FBI Director Kash Patel, a Trump administration official told the Post. No one is above the law. FBI agents on a mission, he said in a cryptic post to X shortly after the raid began. The probe, which is said to involve classified documents and national security, put the math together, 1 + 1 = 2, was first launched years ago, but the Biden administration shut it down for political reasons, according to senior U.S. official. Bolton has previously been accused of including classified information in his 2020 book, The Room Where It Happened. President Donald Trump fought to squash its publication over its inclusion of national secrets, saying Bolton broke an NDA signed as a condition of his employment, but was ultimately unsuccessful. His first-term Justice Department opened an inquiry into the book in September 2020. The ex-Trump advisor has been at odds with his old boss since regularly appearing on cable news, MSNBC, and CNN, criticizing President's national security and foreign policy. It comes a day after Patel revealed former FBI Director James Comey had authorized the leaks of classified documents while misleading Congress just before the 2016 elections. Patel has pledged to rid the government of corruption and expose the cover-ups. So all you people who are going, nothing's happening, does this count to you as happening? I bet you John Bolton thinks something's happening. Just saying. Things are starting to take a little bit of shape here. Here is Fox News reporting on the story as it's breaking this morning.
National Security Advisor John Bolton. It happened at 7 a.m. this morning.
Shortly after the raid began, FBI Director Kash Patel posting on X, quote, "No one is above the law. FBI agents on a mission."
David Spunt joins us now with more on this break. Hey, David.
Hey, guys, not much we can say at this point, but information will continue to develop. As you mentioned, about 7 o'clock this morning, FBI agents raided Ambassador Bolton's home. Notable, we're being told by two government sources that they are looking for classified documents as part of a potential leak investigation. We're told that Ambassador Bolton is not in custody. He's not under arrest, but it is notable they are at his Maryland home right now. We don't know how many agents are there. We're waiting to get a picture of the scene coming in right now, but we're told Ambassador Bolton, who was just on TV on another network a couple days ago talking about the Russia-Putin-Trump summit, is now under FBI investigation. Now, I want to be clear, these are long, and we're looking at some live photographs right now in Bethesda. That's clearly the road where Ambassador Bolton lives, and you can see some police cars outside there. But, you know, this is going to be a long process. We saw the raid of former Trump advisor Roger Stone's home down in Florida several years ago. Eventually, he went to trial. We saw famously in August of 2022, exactly 3 years ago, a little bit more than 3 years ago, the raid on Mar-a-Lago. That still has the FBI in hot water. That's a little bit of a different situation as it was a former president, but it deals with classified documents.
So the plot thickens just a little bit. Classified documents, you'd say.
That information to a grand jury. A grand jury would say we have what's called a true bill, which means an indictment, and then the court proceedings happen. So I don't want to get over my skis and predict that that's going to happen. May not happen, but it's still notable that this is going on right now.
In these raids, the New York Post is reporting that they busted into his home in Bethesda, Maryland. In a raid, normally, do they have, like, how do they get in the house? Would they ring the doorbell first and Bolton would come to the door?
Correct. Yeah, that's usually what it is. I mean, they would ring the doorbell. I mean, that's the proper way that agents usually handle these situations. There's usually kind of a de-escalation of these things before tensions rise. Mm-hmm. And sometimes if they need to bust through the door. I've not confirmed that independently that they busted through the door. I'm not sure if it was any sort of ramrod or anything like that. So I don't want to get ahead of it, but that is possible. Yes, they will if they feel that they have probable cause to get inside and need to get inside. I will note we've not heard from Ambassador Bolton yet. I'm sure we will through his attorney or possibly himself. So it's something we're going to watch and see what he has to say. But as of now, this is still going on, 42 minutes or about 45 minutes or so into this on a Friday morning in a busy news cycle here in Washington, D.C.
So, obviously this comes after there's been.
So that's Fox News reporting live from the scene about 40 minutes ago. As maybe an hour and 40 minutes ago, as they kicked down the door, maybe not, we don't know. Kash Patel, about the same time, tweeted this out. No one is above the law. Agents on a mission. They already know. And so you got to understand, the President of the United States of America can retain classified documents. That is that is in the when they were trying to get Freedom of Information Act about the documents in Bill Clinton's underwear drawer. The Supreme Court ruled the president has the right to those documents, but only the president. The National Security Advisor, former Secretary of State John Bolton, cannot retain classified documents, and if he has them in his home,
Advisor John,
it's a crime. And not only that, I think he was leaking this information. And let me tell you, this is big time business in DC, selling information. Dan Bongino responds to Kash Patel, says, public corruption will not be tolerated. To which Attorney General Pam Bundy responded, America's safety isn't negotiable. Justice will be pursued always. So right now, it's an revolving situation. John Bolton, as all we know right now is his home has been raided by the FBI. He is not home right now. Dan Bongino and AG have responded. And it's going to get, I think, worse. Can we say the walls are closing in now, or is it too early? I'm just asking. I can't wait to see the reaction of MSNBC and CNN and all the rest. I just can't wait to see their reaction. This is from MK Truth Ultra over on Telegram. Hat tip to him, because I don't put this kind of stuff together. But this was a tweet on 8/17 from Donald Trump, or Truth, excuse me. The very unattracted, both inside and out, Senator from Connecticut, Chris Murphy, said Putin got everything he wanted. Actually, nobody got anything. Too soon. But getting close. Murphy is a lightweight who thinks it made the Russian president look good in coming to America. Actually, it was very hard for President Putin to do so. And this war can be ended now. But stupid people like Chris Murphy, John Bolton, and others make it much harder to do so. How is John Bolton making it harder for this war to end? Now, these are Q posts. It says here, Bolton plus Putin should scare you. If you are smart, stupid, you know what just occurred at the meeting in Russia. Attempts to frame Russia POTUS optics are failing and will soon be exposed. Objective, to keep POTUS away from Putin, failed. Bolton plus Putin should scare you. Donald Trump has said repeatedly when Bolton was his national security advisor, when he would do negotiations, he'd bring him just along to scare the hell out of people, because Bolton wants war. And when he walks in the room, everybody thinks Donald Trump's going to go to war. Enemies are allies. Evil has no place here. America is no longer safe. The age of taxing our citizens across the world while entry to our markets is free is over. The world will unite in this cause. Forced immigration pushers will be exposed. The why, read the Bible, God wins. Follow Bolton, it says. Clean stage, learn how to archive offline. The streets will not be safe for them. Is this the beginning of the end? Are the walls closing in? Stay tuned. This is John Bolton. This is from 2 days ago, 8/20, this post. Russia has not changed its goal. Drag Ukraine into a new Russian empire. Moscow has demanded that Ukraine cede territory it already holds, and the remainder of Donetsk, which it has been unable to conquer. Zelensky will never do so. Meanwhile, meetings will continue because Trump wants a Nobel Prize, but I don't see these talks making any progress. And why is that? I got a question for you. John Bolton's home was just raided over national security, and they're saying classified documents. Is John Bolton interfering with Donald Trump's foreign policy actively right now? Is John Bolton and others, Lindsey Graham, Blumenthal, actively working with Zelensky and Zelensky's government to prevent a peace treaty? Inquiring minds want to know. Did y'all see the report that came out? Do I have it here, or did I get rid of it? No. I'll just tell. Oh, no, that's not it. I'll just tell you the report. I don't know where I put it. It wasn't in my notes. It just popped in my head. The report just came out. There was a hack of the Defense Department computers in Ukraine by the Russians. On those computers was the true casualty count. We keep getting told that Russia has lost millions and billions and trillions of people in this war, and that the peace-loving, heroic Ukrainians have only lost 10 people or something. I mean, the numbers are that stupid. It's kind of like the New York, the DC crime numbers prior to the Trump administration. It's kind of like that. Figures don't lie, but liars figure. Well, they hacked their servers, and they found out that the Ukrainians in combat have lost 1.5 million soldiers. Now, that's not just some random number. The accounts included name, rank, serial number, addresses, next of kin, and photographs for each of the 1.5 million. We're being told a bill of goods, ladies and gentlemen, and the Ukrainians are dying. Putin said that Joe Biden was willing to fight to the last Ukrainian. And well, evidently it's so.
He's leading the world. He's keeping.
Okay. We're going to play that video. This is Glenn Beck. Now, he doesn't say it in this video, in this clip, but in this discussion, if you go to YouTube or wherever and watch it. Oh, it's 1.7 million. I'm sorry. I got the number wrong. And everybody's all 1.7. That's by the Inspector Cates, the source of all truth and news, who will be having another podcast coming next week. Look for that. And if you missed it, I had Charlie Simons on his Do Not Talk podcast through the Righteous Rebellion Patriot Broadcast Network. He was on last night. I was on his show last night. Had a great conversation with a guy named Art. Oh, I can't think of his last names, about Israel. Aaron, go to my page and watch that show. I think you'll like it. He's reporting on the Israel mythology, patriot mythology pushers. Is really good. Getting down some real history and truth. And it was a great conversation. No, it's not the PM. It's not going to be the Patriot Mike show if I'm going to have other people in the group. It's going to be Righteous Rebellion Patriot Podcasting, RRPB. Sorry. It is what it is. But anyways, in this conversation, Glenn Beck tells a story about he was called, he said something bad about George W. Bush when George W. was president, and he was called to the carpet and asked to come to the White House and speak with George W. Bush. So he did. It's like, I get invited to the White House. What do? I'm a reporter. I go to the White House and I report. So he does this, and when he gets there, when it's all said and done, the conversation's all over, George W. says to him, don't worry about the next guy, because whoever sits in this seat don't call the shots. There's the same advisors that advise me is going to advise him. and the decisions are already made. And Glenn said that is supposed to make him feel better, but it didn't make him feel better. Anyway, so he goes on, tells that story, then he tells this story about Donald Trump.
And Donald Trump sat at the table and said, just going to get old Vlad on the phone. And he stands up, walks out of the room with all the world leaders, and he just picks up the phone and calls Vladimir Putin and says, hey, I just want to keep you up to speed of what's going on. He didn't ask for permission. He didn't have anybody whispering in his ear. He's leading the State Department. He's leading the world. He's keeping his own counsel. That hasn't been done by a president in I don't know how long. And it's why we're once again the leaders of the world. Because these advisors, all of these doctors and professors and, people who have been in the State Department their whole life and know better than everybody, Donald Trump has said to them, shut up. I've seen your record. It doesn't work. We've been doing it for 100 years. We're losing credibility. We're losing money. We're losing power and influence. I don't want to hear it. This is the direction we're going. And he didn't have the juice to be able to fire all of those people last time. And he put the wrong people in position. Now at the State Department is Rubio. And I got to tell you, Rubio is one of the last guys I would have picked. I would have thought Rubio was a big globalist. Look at who Rubio has turned out to be. So the two things that are happening are really based on one thing, and that is the President of the United States is in charge of his administration. The President of the United States keeps his own counsel. The President of the United States listens to his own gut for the first time that I have seen since Ronald Reagan. And Ronald Reagan did it in one place, and that was the Soviet Union. He knew the difference between good and evil, and he called it, and he didn't care what anybody said. Donald Trump is doing this in example after example after example. He's keeping his own counsel, and he is telling his people, this is what I'm going to do. Find the constitutional way to do it, because this is what has to be done. And he's not taking no for an answer. And he's not kowtowing to the people who have been there forever. Oh, Mr. President, you have to listen to this man. He's not listening to him. If it doesn't make sense to him, he's not listening to him. And he is not waiting for permission from anyone. That's the takeaway from this last 4 days. America is leading because we actually have a leader who knows who he is, knows what he wants to do, and is not going to take no for an answer unless it's unconstitutional. He gets it done. That in 6 months? That's a remarkable development.
And he's right. That's one of the things, that picture that I posted on Facebook, and I shared it on my show Monday, I think, with all the European leaders sitting in a row in chairs outside the principal's office, waiting for their turn to come in. I mean, would they have done that for any other president? Or would they have had the president sitting outside? I mean, Barack Obama would have been sitting outside the office waiting for permission. But not this guy. Not this guy. They're waiting on him because he's leading from the front. It's called leadership. It's called leadership. And we don't do leadership anymore. Another breaking news that appeals court New York City has just declared Donald Trump doesn't have to pay the $500 million fine.
$1 million fine against President Trump after James and Judge Nudie tried bankrupting him for taking a loan out and paying it back with interest. The court ruled the $500 million penalty was grotesquely excessive and violated the Eighth Amendment, which prohibits excessive fines. The court said Tish bastardized the law, and Judge Nudi's ruling was unconstitutional, close to a commercial death penalty, one judge wrote. Her ultimate goal was not market hygiene, but political hygiene, ending with the derailment of President Trump's political career and the destruction of his real estate business. The voters have obviously rendered a verdict on his political career. Boom. He's right. The whole trial was a political hit job, and Tish telegraphed her punches years before dragging Trump into court.
I look forward to going into the office of Attorney General every day, suing him, defending your rights, and then going home.
We're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally.
We've got to stand up to an administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale.
First lawfare backfired, then it boomeranged. They made the man a martyr, exposed their dirty deeds in the process, and now Tish is the one under investigation. Primetime told you this is exactly how it was going to go down. Outkick founder Clay Travis, wow, with the Tennessee Orange. Woo! All right. I just had to blink a little bit. Tish James probably not blinking, maybe crying. I mean, what a brick.
She needs to be put in handcuffs. But in the meantime, can you imagine being a fan of MSNBC or CNN or the New York Times or the Washington Post? They keep being told, oh, we've got him now. And Trump just keeps winning. And I give credit to the judges. It took them too long to throw this out. But here's what needs to happen next. The 34 felony charges that Alvin Bragg brought need to get kicked to the curb. And the ridiculous E. Jean Carroll verdict also needs to be tossed on appeal. Trump is already in the White House, but he's putting together a string of legal victories, the likes of which we have never seen, Jesse. And I can't wait until Letitia James gets put in handcuffs and actually pays the price for her mortgage fraud, which is real, unlike the one she made up about Trump.
Right. So they're saying it's retribution, revenge, all that. What do you say?
Look, I mean, I think that there is no doubt that if you look, they tried to bankrupt, they tried to imprison, and a couple of different people at least tried to kill President Trump. And this guy's just built different. He came through. Most people would have crumbled in the courtroom. He fought through. The American public, as that judge's opinion said, rendered their verdict on Trump as president. And Jesse, I think that we are in the midst of the best first-year presidency that I've seen in my life. I bet that you have seen in your life. Trump is getting so much done that he's decided that he's going to make D.C. safe again. I think you just
he's
asked
regrassing
Vivek, I think it's
the
a
parks.
great roadmap.
I mean, who does that?
Yeah.
He's taking it. He's taking it so
amazing.
seriously.
It is, and I can't wait till next year, 250th anniversary, when D.C. is as clean as it has ever been and as safe as it's ever been. And I bet you're going to be there, and I hope I'm going to be there too for that big UFC fight to celebrate 250 on the White House lawn.
Yeah, we hope that blood gets on your blazer. You're so close to the action, Clay. America's
football season, baby. Go Vols.
All right, you look like a Cheeto, but we love you. Thanks, Clay.
So Trish James, her big court ruling with the judge and all that BS that went on prior to the election just got tossed out. Just got tossed out. It's gone. It's history. It's over. And there's also this also happened yesterday. The Supreme Court tossed another injunction blocking Trump administration. Justice Gornish delivered Gorish, I can't say his name. Doggone it. As I was reading this, I could say it. Anyways, delivered a haymaker to the lower courts. Lower court judges may sometimes disagree with the court's decisions, but they are never free to defy them. You see, the Supreme Court's ruled twice on these issues of the courts interfering with the president's executive authority. Ruled twice. And now this is the third time. And he just told the courts, you could disagree, but you cannot defy. And if you defy, could indicate punishment. The Supreme Court generally doesn't deal with that, but the AG does. And they come in, they can remove judges, they can impeach judges, they can sanction judges, they can remove their law licenses. There's all kinds of things that can happen here. This is a great post right here. Speaking of Donald Trump being the boss, Donald Trump is appointing bosses below him, Pete Hegseth and J.D. Vance. It says it's wild watching the low-T GOP slowly be replaced by Chads who mock communists right to their stupid demonic faces. I know we have a long way to go, but we are definitely improving. Look at what we used to be versus what we are now. Yeah, it's referring to J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth as they were visiting some of the troops there in D.C. and the protesters were mocking them, and they slapped them back. It was great. It's great watching. Instead of being willy-mouthed, willy-nilly, oh my gosh, we got to reach around the aisle and give a reach around to our partners on the other side. And why is it that for my entire life, the Republican Party has always compromised with the other side? We've always moved to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. You know, we've always moved to the left. It's never to the right. When the compromise is all said and done, the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Chucky Schumer, never compromise. We do. This is what's wrong with America today. The church, the politics, everything is that we compromise just a little tiny bit every day and move further and further and further away from the promise God has given America.
Welcome back to.
It's amazing to me as we start to see this all unravel before our very eyes. And yet we still have people over there on Facebook commenting on my post, nothing's ever going to happen. I can't wait. I can't wait. Will it be John Bolton now? So we got Trish James, we got Adam Shifty Shift, and now John Bolton on the clock. Who will it be? Who's going to be the number one pick in the you get metal bracelets sweepstakes? Who's it going to be? Who's going to be first? On the clock, John Bolton, Adam Shifty Shift, and Trish James. Who's it going to be? I think this is somewhat related to what's happening right now. It was just yesterday. We talked about this a little bit. It was just yesterday that newly declassified memos reveal FBI leadership authorized classified leaks while misleading Congress. Thanks to President Trump's push for transparency, the cover-up is finally being exposed. Accountability must follow. It says exclusive. Prosecutors secured evidence Comey authorized classified leaks, but declined charges. Did Comey authorize the leaks through John Bolton? I guarantee it's all connected. And it ain't just John Bolton's book. I'm telling you, it's more than the book. Mark my words. Here is Peter Navarro when asked about Trish James' case being tossed by the appeals court.
The appeals court has thrown out President Trump's $500 million New York civil fraud penalty that was prosecuted by Letitia James last year.
Yeah.
The appeals court says it was, quote, excessive. What is your reaction?
Letitia James is another one that belongs in jail. Look, the Democrats, they really overplayed their hand on this because they thought they could take Donald Trump out. They didn't. And in the process, they totally destroyed American people's faith in our Justice Department. And they got him got President Trump a lot of votes because of that. I mean, the book I wrote about, I went to prison so you won't have to, the whole theme of that thing is that I'm the wake-up call. If they can come for me, they can come for you. So people need to understand that these are bad people. Letitia James, Fonnie Willis in Georgia, Alvin Bragg in Manhattan. The question is, how coordinated were they? And that's a question that needs to be answered by an investigation.
How coordinated? There's a little bit of piece of the puzzle. How coordinated was all of these people, and who were they coordinating with? Joe Biden? No, Joe Biden wasn't even coordinating with there's stuff coming out of that. Stuff coming out on that. More news at 11. Women and children hardest hit. There's definitely more coming out on that. This is funny. LBGT. This is great right here. It's AI, but it's great.
What does a non-binary person do on the toilet? They, she, it.
They she it.
Let me tell you a story, okay?
I'm sorry. Here is Megyn Kelly's take on this.
It was August of 2023, and or maybe it was July, and I saw Trump at a Turning Point event. This is before we kind of like, I don't know, we'd made up years ago, but this one we had the first like real glad hand and chance to see each other. And it was a very nice exchange. And I spoke with his team behind the scenes, and we talked about the lawfare that he was facing. And the team made clear to me the one of all the criminal trials that he was facing, the thing that really had Trump stressed because it was so unfair and threatened his business to its core was this ridiculous possible indictment by Letitia James, not indictment, but civil suit that threatened to bankrupt him. And indeed, she got a hard partisan judge. She's a hard partisan, the New York State Attorney General, who ran for office promising to, quote, get Trump. And then she got a hard partisan judge, this lunatic Judge Engoron. And it was a judge trial. He had no right to a jury on it. And it didn't go his way. So this one was very important to Donald Trump. And not surprisingly, this hard partisan judge threw the book at him and entered a nearly $500 million judgment against him. It is now over $500 million with the interest that's accrued. And today it was thrown out. It's amazing. He's had to live under this for years now, not just Donald Trump, but Donald Trump Jr., Eric Trump, both of whom have been pulled into this and harassed by this rabid partisan posing as an objective attorney general. It's not so fun now, is it, Tish? Now that you're on the receiving end of lawfare. Unlike Trump, however, you actually appear to have broken the law. Yeah, you deny it. Well, you'll get your day in court too. We'll see how that plays out.
Tick tock, tick tock. Who's going to be the first one indicted? First one indicted. Who's it going to be? My bet's still on Adam Shifty Schiff, but it could be Bolton. It could be Trish James. Maybe all at once. Maybe it'll just be a whole string of indictments. Here's FBI Director Kash Patel tweeting or Xing, whatever, putting this out yesterday. Breaking. Agreements have been reached with 10 FBI whistleblowers and counsel to include a combination of back pay, security clearance, and reinstatement. We greatly appreciate @Real Donald Trump's commitment to transparency and accountability. Thank you, at Chuck Grassley, for working with us to make this happen. Not only are these 10 whistleblowers back at the job at the FBI, but they're working for cash now. Are the walls closing in yet? I don't know. I don't I don't know if the walls are closing in, but I heard a rumor that the walls were closing in. I don't know. I got to go check with MSNBC to see if the walls are closing in yet. Here's Fox reporting that the penalty has been tossed. Just a little bit more context.
President Trump. James now saying in a statement this, quote, the first department today affirmed the well-supported finding of the trial court. Donald Trump, his company, and 2 of his children are liable for fraud. The court upheld the injunctive relief, one limiting Donald Trump and the Trump Organization's officers' ability to do business in New York. It should not be lost to history. Yet another court has ruled that the president violated the law and that our case has merit. We will seek appeal to the Court of Appeals and continue to protect the rights and interests of New Yorkers. Emily, that gets to your point that there are a couple different lines of appeal potentially here on the liability and both on that civil fraud as well. 500.
She's delusional. The merits of the case still stand. He's still a criminal. He's a criminal. Well, look, it may be appealed to a higher court, but you won't see the court date because you won't be AG. I'm just saying. The walls are closing in. By the way, there's prophetic word. There's prophetic word that out of New York and the AG's office will come a conspiracy that will lead to the capital of New York and cause the governor, the attorney generals, the mayors, everybody to fall. And out of that will lead to DC causing people to fall. This is probably the beginning of that. Because if it turns out it was all coordinated, yes, sirree, Bob, it's going to be fun. Can't wait to see it. By the way, they passed that Texas gerrymandering, redistricting, what do you want to call it? If Texas does it, it's gerrymandering. If California does it, it's redistricting. They passed that. Jasmine Crockett now has had her district split in two, combined with another very strong Democrats district and with a very strong Republican district. So she has a choice. She can run in the new Republican district or in the old Democrat district. Either way, she's probably going to lose. But the average folk there in Houston, well, they have a message for old Jasmine Crockett.
Attention on the compound. Attention on the compound. It made Jasmine Crockett. Pocket Rocket Crockett. Do not get prepared for work tomorrow. Do not iron your clothes. Do not brush out your weave. You don't have to get up to brush your teeth. And you don't even have to take a bath tonight. You have been fired. You have lost your seat so you can take your hood rat ass back to the projects. That's where you want to be from? We don't even need you twerking on TikTok no more. Since you ain't no politician no more, we don't even want to see you no more. So go hide up under that rock that you climbed out from under. You have been dismissed from all job duties, Miss Jasmine Crockett. Get the fuck out. Bye. Don't want to see you later. And motherfuck you to the second power. Right there, right there.
They don't even want her in the hood. Because they know she's fake. You know, people that grew up in a certain ethnic, whether it's the hood in the major city or in the sticks in Arkansas or southern Missouri or lower Alabama, anywhere, out in the Appalachians, if you're from North Kakalaka and you see somebody come in faking it, they're faking it. They ain't real. It don't matter what ethnic group you think you're from. when you got Hillary Clinton speaking in a black church. I ain't no ways tar. They know it ain't real. They know it's fake. And they know that woman is as fake as a $3 bill with Hillary Clinton's face on it. I mean, she's fake. She ain't from the hood, never been to the hood. She ain't even driven by the hood. She goes the long way around. Oh, and she's been district out. Goodbye. You are the weakest link. But she'll run for president, so it'd be great. The AOC Jasmine Crockett ticket, and they're going to have who's going to be on top and who's going to be out. Never mind. It's a Friday. Anyways, moving right along from that one. New York Post reporting, Tish out of luck. Trump's massive $500 million civil fraud fine in AG Tish James case thrown out by New York appeals court. Yep. Goodbye. Tish out of luck. Yeah, we ain't had any Fannie news lately. Let's see how that Fannie's been kind of wandering around, lost down there. They got these new really conservative folks. See, in Georgia, under Georgia state law, they have a voting panel which is in charge of setting up the voting system in Georgia. It's a political panel. It's appointed. Blah blah blah, and the Republicans in the House and the Senate got rid of a couple people and added a couple people, and they've been trying to fight this. The Georgia Supreme Court just ruled, nope, those two get to stay on there because it was done the right way, and basically gives a majority to the people that want to investigate the elections and see if there's fraud. Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time down there in Georgia. Here is James Comer, who is running the House Oversight Committee, and they just had the spokesperson, the longtime spokesperson for Joe Biden, working in the White House, come in and testify. And here's his testifying about the testify. Can I get some of the testify?
Never flew on Air Force One. Do you recall a president's spokesperson not traveling with the president when he traveled? He never went on Air Force One. I've been on Air Force One with Joe Biden.
Did he say, though, in his two interactions with him that the president was mentally sharp?
Oh, of course he did. Yeah, well, he had to. He said that in front of you all 100 times.
But in the air, he announced you'd only been with him twice. During those two times, did he describe the president as mentally sharp?
Well, he had to, absolutely, because he said that, for hours and hours and hours of press conferences and TV interviews on MSNBC and CNN.
Did you get any indication of what kind of legal advice the White House counsel, he was a spokesperson, like what the White House counsel was giving Biden as far as legal advice for using?
Well, he said that most of his talking points came from White House counsel. So again, this is the president's spokesperson who has no communication with the president. It leads to further concern that Joe Biden was not the one calling the shots. And that's what this entire investigation is about. We went through lines in the Hur report where Hur specifically stated that the president's memory was poor, his ability was limited, and and then I went back and asked questions about the Biden investigation, the influence peddling investigation, because if you'll recall, he attacks me every day, saying that there was no evidence and all this. I said, do you stand by that? And he never would answer the question. I said, were you surprised that Joe Biden pardoned his entire family? And he said he was surprised. I said, is that an admission of guilt? So he pardoned the spouses. The only place in the world the spouses were ever mentioned was in our final report. And he pardoned the entire family. It is his last act as president. And I think that everyone in America knows that was an admission of guilt. So again, I think this is explosive. When you all read the transcript, I think you will agree. This was the White House spokesperson. It just pours fuel on the fire that Joe Biden was.
So you're listening live there to Oversight Committee Chairman in the House, James Comer, who stepped out for a brief moment to update reporters on this transcribed interview with Ian Sams, the former aide to former President Biden, and an interesting development that just came out there that apparently Ian Sams is telling the committee that he didn't have a lot of interaction with the former president, which is very interesting because he would often come out and tell reporters how well the president was performing.
So all these people that have been going around saying he's as sharp as a tack, he's way smarter and sharper than anybody's ever been smart and sharp on this planet ever before ever. He's the smartest dude that's ever been duded or doo-dooed. Anyways, he's smart. Well, how many interactions did you have with him in 4 years? Two times. Then where'd you get your talking points? I'm just saying. Turns out Joe Biden wasn't interacting with but a couple of people. And those are the people that were running the auto pen. It's weird. I'm sure it's nothing though. I'm sure it's not anything at all to be worried about. So here's Donald Trump and his response yesterday. It says, these were all political trials in an effort to destroy my viability as a presidential candidate before, during, and after the election. They were strongly coordinated with the Biden-Harris campaign and will go down in history as among the most corrupt cases ever brought. These two cases are even more ridiculous than the corrupt Loretta James case, and will found out to be so in the very near future. All of these judges should be ashamed of themselves for allowing them to happen. They were political hacks who did everything possible to hurt me as a candidate. This was an attack by the Biden-Harris administration on their political opponent, me. It is such an honor to have withstood it, thrived, and became president of the United States despite the horrible things that were done to me. I'd like to thank and congratulate my son Eric Trump and all the many people in the Trump organization who fought so strongly for justice. My legal team refused to give up against heavy odds. This is a great day for New York City and the state. By the way, it is a great day because they need to overturn this precedent, because New York City will die if they don't. Because if they can bring charges against you for getting a loan to build a building or build a business or whatever, and then pay the loan back on time with interest to the point that the bank had no complaint but only praise and wanted to loan you more money, if they could bring charges against you for that, people are going to run from New York City in their businesses. They're going to move their businesses out of New York City and to other places where they're free to conduct business without this crap. Donald Trump goes on to say this in a big, long post. He says, total victory in fake New York State Attorney General Loretta James case. I greatly respect the fact that the court had the courage to throw out this unlawful, disgraceful decision that was hurting business all throughout New York State. Others were afraid to do business here. The amount, including interest and penalties, was well over $550 million. It was a political witch hunt in a business sense, the likes of which no one has ever seen before. This was a case of election interference by the city and state trying to show illegally that I did things that were wrong when, in fact, everything I did was absolutely correct and even perfect. Every single dollar was thrown out, even the penalties imposed on us by the corrupt judge, one of the most overturned in history, Arthur Egron. I wasn't given a jury, and during the course of the trial, which lasted a long time, was not given one ruling in my favor by this political hack. But worse than him, if that's possible, was Loretta James. a corrupt, incompetent attorney general who only brought this case in order to hurt me politically. She is a Trump deranged lunatic. They made me bond the outrageous sum, which never happened before, and which cost me millions of dollars a month. It should have never been allowed to happen, and everyone knew it. Importantly, the vote 5-0. I am so honored by Justice David Friedman's great words of wisdom, which should be read by everyone. I would also like to thank the court for having the courage to make this decision, which is already going down as one of the worst business prosecutions in the history of our country. Sadly, there are other cases against me that are as equally disgraceful, including those headed up by corrupt judge like Juan Merchan, whose daughter collected millions of dollars in fees from crooked Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, while her father shockingly refused to recuse himself from a vicious and corrupt trial, which is also under appeal, one in which every legal pundit in New York said there is no case. Even editorial board said, do not do this. Judge Merchant gave an unprecedented gag order, not letting me talk about him or his daughter or the fact that the appellate judges, though he thought he should not be doing the case, but he did it anyways. Many lawyers said that his daughter and him created the greatest conflict of interest they've ever seen. Judge Lewis Kaplan, the other remaining case, whose wife, family, and friends attended his 2 trials, is as mean and nasty as anyone's ever met. It's getting small and harder to read here. The case also on appeal should never have been brought, and should it be admonished for abuse and every other thing that can be thrown at a corrupt judge. He loved the publicity and would not let us present an irrefutable evidence that we wanted to present. This Clinton-appointed judge should not be allowed to get away with this scam. So Donald Trump is responding to all of this lawfare. Mind you, while this is going on, MSNBC right now, CNN right now is screaming, the usual suspects, screaming that Donald Trump is politicizing the DOJ, going after their good friend and behind-the-scenes lover, John Bolton. And I do mean in a Brokeback Mountain Senate office chambers kind of way, allegedly. Are you on the Epstein list there, John? I don't know. I'm asking for a friend. Here's Jonathan Turley responding to the case being tossed.
Described this entire effort as a grotesque use of this New York law. No one lost money in this case. The banks actually wanted more business from President Trump. No one had ever seen an effort like this. It was an effort by Letitia James to have a trophy win against Trump. And what this opinion has done is to reduce what was a mounted marlin to something of a guppy. I mean, it has removed the fine and left in place the injunctive relief that President Trump can now appeal. So it is possible that even that could go to the wayside. The good news is really for the New York court system. This regains some of the credibility that was lost during this process. I mean, many of us stood there in disbelief that James was allowed to do this. She succeeded in securing, or she was fortunate enough to secure, a very favorable judge, Judge Engoron. And I want to note, by the way, that both the judge and James tried to effectively price Trump out of even appealing the case. they insisted that he would have to pony up $500 million just to question what they did in the case. And it was an outrageous effort to effectively price out an appeal. It didn't work. And now we can see that the appellate court said this should never have happened in terms of the fine.
And, you're so right about this. That was the underlying message from the president. I mean, then candidate at the time was that if they can do this to me, they can come out and do this to you. So what happens now with the fine, and what are Donald Trump's, levers? What other avenues does he have to continue fighting this?
Well, I think he should continue to fight it. This was a misuse of this law. It's a very controversial law, but it's on the books, has never been used in this absurd way. And so there are still legitimate questions here with regard to the injunctive relief. The court obviously fractured on these issues. The good news for New Yorkers is that the Court of Appeals really sent a message to the business community, the legal community, that they are not going to allow raw lawfare, because this was really the greatest example of that. Attorney General James ran on the pledge to bag Donald Trump. She didn't even say what for. She just said, I'm going to get him. And the New York voters elected her. And this is what she came up with. It should never have gotten to this point. I mean, I think that in the years to come, people in New York and outside New York need to look at the case and try to figure out how this was allowed to get this far.
Yeah, it's amazing. It was amazing to watch when it was happening, and I think we were all stunned when we saw the fines. John.
So there's still some things left that have to be appealed, but it's gonna get tossed. It's all gonna get tossed. It's gonna go back before the same appeals court. It's gonna get tossed. Here's a little side note as we discuss these things that are breaking today. Fed Chairman Jerome Powell came out this morning and said that they're considering lowering interest rates. Response to that has been dramatic. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 788.91. NASDAQ's up 370.399. S&P 500 is up 92.72. Gold's up 28. I was about to say 27 to 34.10. And silver's up to 38.705. On the news that they were going to lower interest rates. This is good news for Donald Trump, because he needs the interest rates to get down so they can refinance the debt and help in the process, because we're paying $1 trillion plus in interest. You get that number down a little bit to help out. This is an interesting one. Tulsi Gabbard barred sharing intelligence on Russia-Ukraine negotiations with Five Eye partners. Now, do you know what the Five Eye partners are? The Five Eye Partners is a system set up after World War II in which it would be Canada, England, the United States, France, and New Zealand or Australia, I don't remember which, are partners in intelligence, and they share intelligence with each other. And the problem with it is this. It's against the law in many of these nation states to use intelligence apparatus to spy on their own people. So we go to the French or the Canadians or the Australians, say, would you spy on us for us and share the information with us? That's what this is. So basically, Gabbard barred sharing any intelligence with Five Eyes from any of the intelligence agencies that we have gathered on Russian-Ukraine negotiations so that they can't. Basically, John Bolton types, allegedly, is leaking information on the negotiation with Russia and Ukraine and the United States to bring peace. And they know it. And so they said, stop talking about it. Just things that are building up here. Things that are building up. Oh, yeah, and Cracker Barrel, then and now. One of these things is not like the other, not like the other, not like the other. We need the old Cracker Barrel back. Just saying. Here's another one. That's just things just keep happening. Effective immediately, we are pausing all issuance of worker visas for commercial truck drivers. The increasing number of foreign drivers operating large tractor trailers on U.S. roads is endangering Americans' lives and undercutting the livelihood of American truckers. Ding, 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 ding. No more visas for commercial truck drivers for the time being. A lot of things are happening. Donald Trump, truth this out. Many of you are going to like this one. Free Tina Peters, a brave and innocent patriot who has been tortured by crooked Colorado politicians, including the big mail-in ballot supporting the governor of the state. Let Tina Peters out of jail right now. She did nothing wrong except catching the Democrats cheat in the election. She's an old woman and very sick. If she's not released, I'm going to take harsh measures. I don't know what that means, but it's going to be interesting. Here's another thing, the very controversial post. A lot of people are talking about this. It is very hard, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking an invader's country. It's like a great team in sports that has a fantastic defense, but is not allowed to play offense. There's no chance of winning. It is like that with Ukraine and Russia. Crooked and grossly incompetent Joe Biden would not let Ukraine fight back, only defend. Now, how did that work? Regardless, this is a war that would never have happened if I were president. Zero chance. Interesting times ahead. What's he referring to? By the way, you can take that statement. It's very hard, if not impossible, to win a war without attacking the invader's country. We've declared war on drug cartels. We have military ships surrounding Venezuela right now.
President Trump kicking off
I think he's talking about multiple things at once here. That's what I think he's talking about. And we got Hair Gel Newsom. He just signed a bill passed by their House and Senate to have an election to discuss gerrymandering. I said it the way that I said it on purpose.
Let me do a quick photo.
Watch him. He's trying to imitate Donald Trump. He's got the desk and the people standing around him. Signs it. Holds it up. See, when you're a loser, amoral chameleon that has no grounding of his own, no principles, nothing he can stand on and say, this is me, this is who I am, I will go no further. The only thing that you can do is imitate.
This is special. And we'll be transitioning just nearby, and we'll have a chance to take all your questions. And we'll look forward to seeing you very, very shortly. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.
So that's Gavin Newsom. It reminds me of Jack Frost in the Santa Claus movie. That's funny. That's a good one right there. Did I miss it? No, I didn't. Okay. Donald Trump also, or Donald Trump Jr., excuse me, responded to New York Attorney General February 23, 2024. She says $464,576,230.62. Well, last night, Donald Trump responded, "You mean $0.00. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Donald Trump Jr., excuse me. Fantastic. You mean $0. It's gone. Goodbye. Goodbye. Speaking of Joe Biden, so on the five, the token liberal on the 5 is trying to defend Joe Biden. And Gutfeld, sets her off. Watch this.
Governors and say, get me 5 more seats no matter what you have to do. We also don't elect people who ask for more votes than they actually earned. This is about what the Republicans are doing because they know that they're going to lose the midterms.
No,
and I get it.
People because you can't beat them.
Oh, stop.
Yeah, you just swing an election so you get a dead guy in the office.
He's not dead. There's footage of him all the time, Greg.
Yes, that's deep fakes.
I get it. Some people might not like how Gavin Newsom is talking.
I love
you
it.
might not find his.
He's not dead. He's not dead. No, but he's darn near. Maybe, if that's him. Who knows? It's good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Let's see. I'm going to skip some of this. We don't need to go down the road. We beat this one to death. This James stuff. Oh, Cracker Barrel. Here's a update what Cracker Barrel should do. That's right. Put Donald Trump in the seat. By the way, did you see the Cracker Barrel stock tanked yesterday? Yeah, didn't turn out well for them. Didn't turn out well for them at all. Where is it at? Yeah, we won't talk about that. Okay. Here's one more response from Donald Trump. Big win today against the total corrupt, incompetent New York State Attorney General Loretta James and her equally incompetent hand-picked New York State judge. The 5-0 verdict from the appellate division helps greatly to save the status and reputation of New York judicial system. Loretta James is a criminal who should be forced to resign. It's a coming. It's a coming. Then he says this: Washington, D.C. is safe again. The crowds are coming back. The spirit is high. And our D.C. National Guard and police are doing a fantastic job. They are out in force and are not playing games. As bad as it sounds to say, there are no murders this week for the first time in memory. Mayor Muriel Bowser must immediately stop giving false, highly inaccurate crime figures, or bad things will happen, including a complete, total federal takeover of the city. Washington, D.C. will soon be great again. Oh, yeah. Oh, the lefties are just the lefties are just absolutely fit to be tied. They don't know what they're going to do. DC is being overran and they can't stand it. Caroline Levitt, White House spokesperson, put this out this morning saying the Trump effect, Washington, D.C. crime rates dropped past 7 days. Carjackings down 83%, robberies down 46%, car thefts down 21%, overall violent crime down 22%. Like Donald Trump said, the first time in a long time that there was no murders for a week. No murders. You think about that for a second. There's people that if Donald Trump hadn't taken over DC, there's people that would be dead, good or bad, whatever. There's people that would be dead that are not dead because Donald Trump took over. Just think about that for a second. Okay, done did that one. All right. That's why I was confused. I was confusing myself. So last night, Donald Trump went out, did a little trolling. Should we call it a little trolling? So last night, Fox News reporting, I think this is it. Here we go. That there might be taking this DC effort to other places.
But President Trump also indicated that federal action might be coming to other parts of the country.
We're not playing games. We're going to make it safe. And we're going to then go on to other places.
And more of this may be coming to a city near you.
We have focused on Washington, D.C. because it's a federal city under our jurisdiction, but we certainly hope that whether it's Atlanta or anywhere else, people are going to look around and say, we don't have to live like this.
That's right. You don't have to live like that. You don't have to live under your crime, poop-ridden, drug-infested, homeless-infested streets in these big cities. You don't have to do this. You don't have to be this way. Just stand up. There's many, many, many more of you than there are of them. Just stand up and say no more. We're not going to do it anymore. That's all it takes, is just to stand up and say no more. And I think those days are coming. They're coming rather quickly. And then there's this story we got last night. Breaking. President Trump expected to go on patrol with law enforcement, military in D.C. tonight. Fox News confirms. Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when Trump comes for you? That's right, Donald Trump on patrol. Could you imagine? I hope that I haven't checked yet today, but maybe there'll be cameras of Donald Trump, arresting people. This guy out in California says he loves Gavin Newsom.
It's different. I love what Gavin Newsom is doing right now. He's trolling the shit out of Trump. It's funny. He's got a team.
It's a good media strategy. Eventually, though, he has to get back to his policy positions, which is open borders and sex changes for children, which is not very popular.
You probably believe in the litter boxes for furries too, don't you?
I'm not. You have to educate me on that one.
Oh, there's.
Are you saying that stuff's not like a thing? Like Democrats aren't pushing these things?
Oh no, nobody is. Who would? I mean, what kind of person would do that? It's just not happening.
If it was happening, would it be a bad thing, sir?
For what?
Let's say sex changes for children. If that was happening, would that be a bad thing?
I'm in this. I'm a therapist.
Do you mind if you answer that one question? If it was happening, would it be a bad thing? What do you think?
Sex change for children?
Yes.
It's not happening. If it was happening, it would be a bad thing. It would be unethical and illegal.
It's very much happening in a lot of these hospitals. And it was happening until the government stopped paying for it. Yep, the stock market's up. I just mentioned that. It's climbing like crazy. That's because Jerome Powell said he's going to cut interest rates. Here's the president saying in an interview that he's going to go hang out with the National Guard to go on patrol.
I'm going to be going out tonight. I'm going to keep it a secret, but I'm going to go. You're the only one that knows. You and your lots of listeners. You have a great show. You have a very successful show, by the way, in case you haven't heard that. But I'm going to be going out tonight, I think, with the police, and with the military, of course. So we're going to do a job. The National Guard is great. They've done a fantastic job.
So he's going to go out on patrol. That dude needs red pill. That dude's, he's in Southern California. He's probably high, homeless, likes to poop on the street in front of children. He's for California. California's a great place to be from. But they call California the cereal state, right? Those don't spoil it if you've already heard it. They call California the cereal state. Fruits, nuts, and flakes. Well, I think he was probably all three. I just had an argument with a lib on Facebook who said that it's a lie that Democrats want to ban guns. She showed sources and said he still said it's a lie. I showed sources. Well, that's because they bastardized the words. They don't want to ban guns. They want to regulate them. And see right there in the Constitution, it says a well-regulated militia. They want to regulate guns. They're not going to ban them. They're just going to regulate them to the point that you can't own them. You can still own guns if you pass the regulations, which you can't pass. And see right there in the Constitution says regulate. That's because they bastardized the words, and the words don't mean what they used to mean. Regulate in well-regulated militia in the language of the day. So you got to do this with the Bible too. Make sure you take things in context. Means well prepared. I think we need to have a convention of the states, and that's one of the things we need to do. We need to change the Second Amendment to a well-regulated and prepared militia of the people shall not be infringed. And that's the way it should be. Just because people are too stupid to read English, the King's English of the day, and understand. But Mike, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't have the education. Me. Here's Donald Trump addressing the LEOs and National Guard in D.C.
Todd Blanchard's been with me so long, and he's one of the best lawyers you'll ever find. And we're having a lot of victories. I had a victory today. You know, they stole $550 million from me with a fake case, and it was overturned. They said this was a fake case. It's a terrible thing, but that's a nice victory, you know. I mean, it's not bad. You know, we all have our limits, but this was a terrible thing that done. It was a witch hunt, and I've had more witch hunts than any human being, I think, in history. And here we are with the president of the United States. So it didn't work out too well for them, but maybe now it's turned a little bit. These are very dishonest people. We have to fight. We have to win because we have to win. And you people are winners. And I just think it's such an honor to be with you. And we're going to make Washington, D.C. great again. We're making our country great again. The country is very close to being great. When they say it's the hottest country in the world, they mean it. And this capital is right now, after 5 days, it's at a level that you haven't seen in a long time. And it's all because of you. So I want to thank you all very much. It's an honor to be with you. And we'll always be with you. We're going to be with you for as long as I'm around. You're going to be treated as nobody more important. And thank you all very much for being here. Thank you. Thank you very much. Doug, would you like to say something? Please. Thank you, everybody.
What, the King's English? I know it's English, but I can't. But I listen to Parliament and can't understand a thing they say. Well, you got to understand. Back in the Revolutionary Day, when they wrote all these here papers, including the Second Amendment, when they wrote all this, they spoke the King's English. They didn't speak the English like we do now, you know, and they darn sure didn't speak the English like Jasmine Crockett. No, they spoke the King's English. So that means you need to read the Constitution in mind of what those words meant back then in order to understand it. Here is the 5. Here is the 5 talking about Donald Trump and the law enforcement.
So there were like 100 pizzas that came in here yesterday. I'm sure there were some happy people on another floor. If this is all that the patrol is, then I'm disappointed because I thought it was going to be like in a vest and like driving around with, well, that would have been the most memeable version of this.
There's still time. The night is young.
Maybe he'll do it later. you just got to point out, he says, people are going out to restaurants. Restaurant reservations are 31% down year over year.
Compared to what? Did you hear about
year
that?
over year?
That's a fake statistic, Jessica.
What do you mean?
You're comparing restaurant week from last year to this year. That's why the numbers went down. That's already been debunked.
What?
God, debunking you is so difficult. God.
The Peter Baker story, he compared the week of this crackdown with restaurant week last year, and he didn't tell you. So it's kind of on Peter Baker, but we did the research and we found out it was, yeah.
Jesse, what last words do you have before I send
that's just a great last word. Anytime you debunk a Jessica hoax, we can just end on that. I would say one thing in all seriousness. Jessica called this guy an authoritarian. Okay, he's getting rid of graffiti, homeless people, illegal aliens, and criminals, and he's making your parks more beautiful. And he's just bringing in the National Guard to stand by the monument so they can free up the DC police to do sweeps in the hardcore neighborhoods. If that's authoritarianism, I like it.
You've always liked authoritarianism.
Okay, give me more.
What's your alternative? That's all. I just want to know your alternative to any of this. And it can't be a hoax.
Kennedy laid it out very nicely that you don't need to be using federal troops for this.
Okay, we are monitoring this.
Yeah, I wanted to see him in the street in the uniform, and I didn't get to see this. This all this is? I don't know if he did or didn't. But it would have been fun. Just kind of like the trash truck. You remember the trash truck where he's driving a trash truck? Yeah, it'd have been good. Here he is talking to the troops, so to speak. Donald Trump being Donald Trump. No other politician can out Donald Trump in this field right here.
It's a healthy, attractive looking group of people. Well, I just want to thank everybody very much for being here. I wanted to do this. We've had some incredible results. The results have come out, and it's like a different place. It's like a different city. It's the capital. It's going to be the best in the world. We're going to do what you're doing with law enforcement, and very importantly also, we're going to physically do it. We're going back to Congress for some money, and we're going to redo a lot of the pavement, a lot of the medians, a lot of the graffiti's all coming off real fast. It's going to come down real fast. We're working with Clark Construction. They're one of the big ones. They're the biggest here.
So there he is with the troops, encouraging the troops, doing what Donald Trump does best. This is why Donald Trump, by the way, is a billionaire, because and why this seems so natural for him, because he's been doing this in his corporations and his companies for years. He'll show up on a job site, talk to the folks that are doing the work. He'll show up at a hotel and talk to the people that work at the hotel, show up at a golf course and talk to the people that work at the golf course, show his appreciation, show his love, show his commitment to them. This is why he's so successful. He's the best at it. He truthed this out right here. Make Washington, D.C. great again. So WADCGA.
Have a good time.
Here he is. Donald Trump, by the way, he purchased this out of his own pocket. This is not from campaign funds. This is not from government funds. It's from Donald Trump's own personal checkbook. He bought them all pizzas and hamburgers.
Be safe. Man. I think people now aren't in danger. They get it.
So he bought them all pizzas for them to share. Oh, and he trolls better than anyone else. Did you know that he installed speakers in the Rose Garden, a la Mar-a-Lago? You know how he always has those parties down at Mar-a-Lago where he's the DJ. Well, here's the speakers in the Rose Garden blaring out YMCA. Facebook. This is for entertainment purposes only and education of the White House. And it's like 8 seconds long. So don't give me we protected music, bro. We're sharing your income with the authors of the music, bro. Well, I don't get anything from you. What's the division of zero? There's a historical connection, though. Guantanamo Bay was once a home to a YMCA, specifically from 1914 to 1918, where there was a YMCA at the naval base. This historical fact has been referenced in discussions linking the song to such the location. Music as an alleged interrogation technique. There have been allegations and reports that YMCA was among the songs used as part of what some describe as musical torture or enhanced interrogation techniques. At Guantanamo Bay, detainees reportedly subject to loud music, including YMCA, to disrupt their sleep patterns or cause psychological distress. However, those claims are controversial and part of a broader debates about interrogation methods. Interesting. I don't know. I don't know. We shall see. Oh, let's see. We'll get that one in a minute. That one in a minute. Do I got any more DC stuff? Oh, here is Governor Newsom. Here's Governor Newsom. Governor Newsom is trying to be a badass. He's trying to be tough like Donald Trump. See, but Donald Trump's New York construction worker tough. He was born and raised this way. It isn't something he has to, his vibrato is him. Mr. I have no nuts, Gavin Newsom. And why do I say that? Let me just point out how he's sitting. Now, his legs aren't crossed. I'm just saying, some things men can't do for various reasons. But anyways, here he is being Mr. Tough Guy.
Radical rigging of an election, destroying, vandalizing this democracy, the rule of law. So I'm sorry. I know some people's sensibilities. I respect and appreciate that. But right now, with all due respect, we're walking down a damn different path. We're fighting fire with fire, and we're going to punch these sons of bitches in the mouth.
Oh, amen to that.
Amen. Who you amening to? Who you amening to? Because I'm not sure you worship the same God I do. I don't think that's the case. Just a guess on my part. So here he is again with the folks encouraging the LEOs and the National Guard.
Have a little fun. We're going to celebrate, but then we're going to get back to work and we're going to take care of these criminals. We're going to put them where they have to be. You're going to say, don't play around with us. Don't play around with us. So let's go have something to eat. You're going to like the hamburgers? Would you rather have hamburgers from the White House or pizzas from a good place, huh? I think they want the hamburgers. Have a good time, everybody. Thank you very much. Christy, thank you very much. And it's about leadership, but we had a country that was a dead country in many ways. I went to Saudi Arabia, I went to Qatar, I went to UAE. We came back with $5.1 trillion of investment in this country, and we're over 17 trillion. Now, a lot of you don't know what that means, and nobody knows what it means because it's never happened before.
17 trillion, he said.
Making reservations to come in.
Here's another one of him speaking to the law enforcement officers.
They're making reservations to come in. They want to be in Washington, D.C. One of the things we're going to be redoing is your parks. I'm very good at grass because I have a lot of golf courses all over the place. I know more about grass than any human being, I think, anywhere in the world. And we're going to be regrassing all of your parks, all brand new sprinkler systems, the best that you can buy, just like the Augusta. No, it'll look like Augusta. It'll look like, more importantly, Trump National Golf Club. That's even better. But we're going to have all brand new, beautiful grass. You know, like everything else, grass has a life. Do you know that? Grass has a life. You know, we have a life and grass has a life. And the grass here died about 40 years ago.
So we're going to be rebuilding all of your parks, and it's going to happen fast. It's going to go up like a miracle. So you do the job on safety, and I'll get this place fixed up physically, and we're going to be so proud of it at the end of 6 months. But let's say at the end of a year, this place will be maxed out in terms of beauty. You'll have all new surfaces. You'll have all new medians. Everything's going to look beautiful. A lot of your signs are going to be taken down. They've been up for 40 years. They look like hell. They're barely standing up. They're falling off their holders, and we're going to have all new everything. And I want to just thank Doug for doing such an incredible job.
We're going to get new grass, and I know a lot about grass. I like my grass, but only at night. Hey, watch yourself. Yo, it is crazy. We are living in crazy times. So this again, Gavin Newsom, it says California Assembly passes Newsom's redistricting plan, and to which he responded, it shows him taking Mexico.
Like County, a man convicted of first.
That's all I got to say about that. Really, Gavin? Really? I mean, really? So here is John Solomon talking about what's going on with the leaked, with the not leaked, but with the information being revealed, declassified, and comparison what Kash Patel said in 2022.
4 grand juries are currently gathering evidence. It doesn't matter the jurisdictions at this point because they're just simply gathering where people are to make it quick and fast. At some point, I believe they'll roll them up and they'll take them to Fort Pierce, Florida, and put them under the U.S. Attorney in Miami, who's a rock star in the legal community. And,
I like that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and by the way, for you, those of you who don't know what Fort Pierce is, that's where the raid on Donald Trump was litigated, and that's where Judge Eileen Cannon is. And so there's a sweet irony to the fact that that's where the boomerang may end
But
up.
how could that be jurisdictionally?
Because you're going to look at what Jack Smith did and what the raid. Well, actually, Jack Smith wasn't there when they raided Donald Trump's house, but all the litigation he did there is the final act of the conspiracy, right? It's the same conspiracy. Hillary has a problem, Russia collusion. Hunter Biden has a problem, Ukraine impeachment. Joe Biden has a classified document problem, Donald Trump's going to have the problem. And the ludicrousness of it is Donald Trump was probably, almost certainly the Supreme Court would have ruled he would have had the right to take those documents with him. He's an ultimate declassifier. He just said, I thought I declassified them. I waved my hand over it. It's done. That's all you have to do as a president. I know of a president, George W. Bush was sitting in the room. He's with the world later, and he decided, hey, I'm just declassified right now. I'm telling these guys this. He just did. No penalty. So the idea that they were going to bring this charge against Donald Trump for the classified document, it was only to protect the fact that Joe Biden, what did they do? They waited till Donald Trump was indicted, and then they said, oh, we forgot to tell you, Joe Biden had those documents in his house. They kept it a secret. That's what they've done. So the final act of the conspiracy is the cover-up of Joe Biden's classified documents by charging President Trump, and then you work your way back.
Now you have a 6-year saga of criminal activity from Russiagate to the raid. And it's the same people at the FBI and DOJ who started and launched Russiagate that are now supervising and doing the Mar-a-Lago raid, the search warrant, and the efforts to take down a president. So it's just an extension of that. And the mainstream media is covering it and applauding it because they want one thing: for Trump never to run again. It's not all roads lead back to Russiagate just because it's the same people, but because the same people are trying to bury the same information. And it's been reported in the press since we did our last show, which I called before that this same crew of counterintelligence guys at FBI and DOJ want to hide from the public the 40% of documents that Devin and I found during Russiagate, but were unable to get out to the public. The documents that President Trump declassified while he was president of the United States. And now we see reporting in the media that was one of the reasons, if not the main reason, for this raid to occur. So I tell the audience, stay tuned. I called it long ago that all roads begin and end with Russiagate, and I think we're going to be proven right.
Yep, all roads begin and end with Russiagate, and Russiagate was the cover-up of all the bad things they were doing, including in Ukraine. you know, like making biological weapons, messing with children, that sort of thing. Not big deal, not big deals, but that sort of thing. Here's Tulsi Gabbard. As she discusses more declassification is coming.
People because they believe their views and opinions supersede the United States Constitution that they all swear an oath to uphold, to support and defend, and that their views and opinions supersede those, again, who are elected by the American people, specifically the President of the United States. So I'm going to do my very best every day that I have the privilege of serving our country in this role under President Trump's leadership to root out those bad actors and to try to bring about that institutional change so that this is not something that the American people are continually faced with.
Tulsi, you've declassified a lot so far. Do you intend to declassify other information?
Yes, without a doubt. There are so many areas that we have just started to shine a light on in places that have never seen the light. It's important for the American people. They deserve to know the truth, and the truth and that transparency is what can be used to lead to actual accountability. That's how real change comes about.
And you're working with the Justice Department, and they're going to be, I mean, I know there's, I think I know there's at least one grand jury set up. I'm not sure that's public yet. I'm not sure the public knows all that is going to happen there. But you're working with the Justice Department, Attorney General Body to prosecute?
I am working with the U.S. attorney that's been assigned to by the Department of Justice and his team specifically to deal with the evidence that we have found and collected and declassified and released. The criminal referral that I made to the Department of Justice around President Obama's directed intelligence assessment that, as we said before, created something that was not there. This was the foundation of the Russia hoax. And it really was the document, again, ordered by President Obama, carried out willingly and excitedly by John Brennan and James Clapper and others.
So there's plenty more to come with the Russia hoax and the crimes that they were committing in doing it. There's plenty more to come, and it's going to get really interesting. Here is Pam Bundy on what's coming. Yeah, Burisma. Good point.
Larry Kudlow. It was made up, completely false, completely unconstitutional. If that is the case, and then you look at the declassification of Tulsi Gabbard and John Ratcliffe, our CIA director, and then you look at the dual system of justice, it seems to me like we have people that have gone so rogue in this country that they're putting cinder blocks on the scales of our presidential elections. Do you believe that that America will find that out to be true?
We are investigating so many things, Sean, at the Department of Justice, and that was the ultimate weaponization. What they did to President Trump, what they tried to do to his family, no longer. Weaponization has ended, and no one in this country is above the law, and people will be held accountable for their actions.
All right, we look forward to getting to the bottom of it. If we're going to save this republic, we cannot have the weaponization. We've got to restore our intelligence community, FBI, to their once former greatness, and that is the premier
and
law
free and
enforcement
fair elections.
And free. Agreed. Very well said, Attorney General.
There's lots of investigating going on. A whole lot of That's why Donald Trump said the Epstein stuff was a distraction. It was a distraction from this. This is what they were absolutely 100% afraid of. This stuff coming out. Here is John Solomon on War Room discussing some of the stuff that's really starting to come out right now.
Welcome back to the War Room. We've still got Mike Benz with us, but
We are going to go to John Solomon, who has yet another wonderful breaking scoop, keeping, I guess, not just the deep state, but also their enablers on their toes. Quote, exclusive prosecutors secured evidence Comey authorized classified leaks but declined charges. Can you walk us through this new piece?
We sure could. So these are new documents that were found by Kash Patel a few weeks ago. The first time they were given to Congress, they were heavily redacted. In this section of the memo was taken out by Justice Department lawyers, but to her credit, Pam Bondi reversed that decision and got this block inside this long history of leaks inside the FBI unredacted. And what did we learn? We learned that prosecutors and U.S. Postal and Service Inspection Service agents interviewed James Comey's deputies and confirmed that he had authorized the leak of classified information to the New York Times right before the 2016 election. So putting his thumb on the scale of the 2016 election. And despite this knowledge, despite that there was a leak of classified information, they know who leaked it. They know who authorized it. They know who their star witnesses would have been. If you brought a prosecution, you would have brought in James Comey's chief of staff, James Rubicki, and his former chief counsel, James Baker, because they're the ones who confirmed that this happened. They decided not to bring any charges at all. They let James Comey walk, and they kept this a secret. And this decision, by the way, was made at the beginning of, or in the middle of President Trump's first term under the Justice Department, under Jeff Sessions. The U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C. declined. The soon-to-be special prosecutor, but at that time, the Connecticut U.S. attorney, John Durham, also declined to bring charges. And so James Comey walked. And then we'll say, well, what's the difference? Why should we care now? Well, there's some the statutes on classified intentional leaking of information that harms the national interest, i.e. espionage, actually is 10 years, which means that Pam Bondi could theoretically reopen an investigation today. I talked to our good friend Mike Davis, great legal expert. He said, I think the DOJ will open up on this information right away. I talked to Pam Bondi, and she says, I intend to bring accountability to this abhorrent behavior by James Comey and his team. That's probably not a good sign for James Comey. Talked to the FBI director, Kash Patel. He said that it is a shame to the FBI that its former leader authorized the leak, and his leadership leaked classified national secrets harming the public interest, and that he hopes accountability will come from the Justice Department. So everybody is in action on this tonight. The document's up. You don't have to take my word for it. You can read it. It's embedded in our story. But James Comey is got perhaps some new legal headaches tonight. And I want to remind everybody, there was a famous moment in May 2017 where Chuck Grassley confronted Comey and said, have you ever been an anonymous story for a news story? No. Have you ever authorized someone to be an anonymous source for a story? No. Did you ever authorize or allow anyone on your staff to leak classified information? No. Well, people are going to look back and look at this and say, I don't think those two things match. And we'll have to see what happens now inside the Justice Department. But all the information is now out there for the public to see, thanks to Pam Bondi and to Kash Patel, who worked together to get this information to the public today.
And John, where can people go one more time to read the story and follow you to stay up to date with everything you've got breaking over at Just the News?
So there's John Solomon breaking it down. All the things that are coming out, all the leaks, everything else that's coming out. It's getting worser and worser and worser for these people. How did they say it? What was it? That expression they used? Rachel Maddow and Morning Joe and what was it? The walls are closing in. Isn't that what they kept saying? The walls are closing in. The walls are closing in. I think maybe the walls are closing in. Could be. Or maybe not. I don't know. So I just did John Solomon. So skip that one. It's crazy to think about how, I think I got it all. Let me see. Yep. I thought I had some more Russia stuff, but it doesn't appear that I do. It's all, duplication, basically. Same people saying the same stuff. We don't need to go down that road. But there is some other stories we could talk about for the few minutes we have left. For example, this story from the, I could do the Gateway Pundit one. It's usually better than the Associated Press. this story from the Gateway Pundit, as reported by the Associated Press. Trump administration revealing that all 55 million foreigners with visas for possible, reviewing all 55 million for possible deportation, deportable violations, excuse me. The Trump administration concerted mass deportation efforts are about to kick into another gear. As Associated Press reported, the State Department revealed that they are putting all 55 million foreigners with visa on notice that they could be deported for violations of immigration rules. More from the AP. In a written answer to a question posed by Associated Press, the department said that all U.S. visa holders are subject to continuous vetting with the eye towards any indication that they could be eligible for the document. Should such information be found, the visa will be revoked, and if the visa holder is in the United States, he or she would be subject to deportation. The department said it was looking for indications of ineligibility, including visa overstays, criminal activity, threats to the public safety, engaging in any form of terrorist activity, and providing support to terrorist organizations. We reveal all available information as part of our vetting, including law enforcement or immigration records or any other information that comes to light after visa issuance, indicating a potential ineligibility, the department said. AP further notes that all foreign visa holders' social media accounts will be examined along with law enforcement and immigration records in their native countries, and any actionable violations of American law committed while they're in the country. So in other words, if you are one of the 55 million visa holders in the United States of America here on privilege, that if you have committed a crime or done other stupid F around and find out stuff, you're going to F around and find out back to home. Also, I just want to point out something to you. What is there? 350 million people in America. If you take 55 million and 20 million, that's 75 million. So are immigrants in the United States. Just think about that for a minute. That's a large population of people. Maybe we should cut down on that for a time being. Here's another judge, by the way. The Supreme Court has just ruled you can't do this, but, you know, they're going to do it anyways. Breaking, Florida federal judge Kathleen Williams, Obama appointee, is ordering Florida to shut down Alligator Alcatraz within 60 days and is blocking the state and the Trump administration from bringing any new detainees into the facility from this point forward. She's also demanding that the state start removing all generators, gas, sewage, etc. from Alligator Alcatraz. This is a temporary restraining order, TRO, meaning that the merits of the underlying case will continue to be litigated while the Judge Williams orders Alligator Alcatraz to shut down. And if I was the governor of Florida and the president, I would say to her, nice law there. How are you going to enforce it? Nice decision. Who are you going to call? You're going to call the state law enforcement that answer to the mayor? You're going to call the local law enforcement that answer to the state law enforcement? You're going to call in the feds that answer to Trump? Who are you going to call there, Judge? Are you going to show up yourself? Send in your clerk? How are you going to enforce this decision? That statement right there, enforce this decision, proves that they have no authority to do these things. None. Yet they're going to try to do them anyways. Here's another interesting story. very interesting story. Yesterday, Russia bombs U.S. factory in one of the war's largest attacks. Kremlin launches 600 drones and missiles at targets in Ukraine. Russia struck an American business with cruise missiles overnight in one of the largest aerial attacks in the war. So far, Ukraine has said, Ukraine Air Force said some 574 drones and 40 missiles were fired overnight, primarily targeting western regions of the country, far from the battlefield front lines in the east and south of the country. The strikes killed one person, injured 15 more. It struck a major U.S. electronics manufacturer. Why is there a major U.S. electronics manufacturer in Ukraine? In the city of that place, yes. According to Audrey Saiba, I guess, Ukraine foreign minister, video footage showed a large fire at the premises of Flex Ltd., a multinational firm that has a headquarters in Texas. The company manufactures electronic goods, including game consoles, laptops, and control units. You know what this is making? Why would a company making game consoles, laptops, and control units for cars and other vehicles, why would they be doing that in Ukraine? And why would Russia bomb them? Because they're making control units for other vehicles, like drones. By the way, every single night for the last week, Ukraine has launched massive drone strikes on Russia. But these doggone people don't report that. It's a tit for tat. They launch, Russia launch, Ukraine launches, Russia launches, back and forth, back and forth. They just don't mention that Ukraine. You know, it takes two to tango. Putin's evil. He's just indiscriminately bombing. No, he took out a manufacturing plant for the drones in Ukraine. I mean, Donald Trump just said that you can't defeat somebody unless you attack their home. And what he means by that is you got to take out their resources. It's the reason why we carpet bombed places like Dresden in Germany. We were attacking ball bearing manufacturing plants. But back then we didn't have smart missiles and smart bombs that you could drop a 30-pound bunker buster bomb on a 12-ounce Pepsi and then follow another bomb right behind it, hit the exact same spot. We couldn't do that. You just had to drop entire 150 plane sorties of B-52s, not B-52s, excuse me, B-17s, and hope you hit something. A different time, a different place, a different war. Speaking of war, we'll end with this one. United Nations has declared famine in Gaza for the first time by the UN-backed group. Yes, confirmed a man-made disaster firmly rejected by Israeli government. Yes, famine has been declared in Gaza City, which is completely controlled by Hamas, for the first time in international body responsible for monitoring world hunger, the UN-backed Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, or IPC, a globally recognized system for classifying the severity of food insecurity and malnutrition, described the famine in Gaza is entirely man-made. Yes, it is by the Gazanians. In the Israeli-controlled sector, there's no famine. The organization had previously warned that famine is imminent in parts of Gaza, the parts controlled by Hamas, but had stopped short of making the formal declaration, citing the lack of hard data. However, it formally confirmed that famine was taking place in Gaza City, completely controlled by Hamas. Israel has not invaded, although they said they're going to. The last remaining major buildup area of enclaves and a home to some 500,000 people and Hamas. on Friday morning. The declaration, first reported by the Telegraph on Thursday, has marked the 5th time famine has been declared since it was established in 2004, most recently in Sudan last year. Antonio Guterres, the UN Secretary General, called the famine a man-made disaster and added that there should be no more excuses. This is not a mystery. It is a man-made disaster, a moral indictment, and a failure for humanity itself, he said on X. The confirmation has outraged the Israeli government, which has consistently denied that famine was taking place in Gaza and is currently moving in Gaza City. Actually, they haven't currently moved in. They've surrounded it. The Ministry and Foreign Affairs repeated on Friday that there is no famine in Gaza. There may be in Gaza City. And by the way, the United Nations and other NGOs are extremely pissed off that the United States and Israel has bypassed them and their food distribution points because the food's not getting to the people, and started giving the food out themselves. And like I said, in everywhere but the places that are controlled by Hamas in Gaza, there is no famine. Only in the places controlled by Hamas, where famine is a political tool used. They don't give a rip if your children die, or they don't care if people die. They just need it for a tool to retain power. And that's what it's all about, by the way. That's what it's always about. That's what it's always been about. It's all fake, all of it. So anyways, hey, do me a favor, check out Nueva, check out our products. We got new products coming every single day. Products will change your life. I'm down about 16 pounds, maybe more. I didn't have my glasses on. I was just blurry big numbers and kind of guessing. Anyways, but I am down about 16 pounds since taking Nueva Body. And I'm telling you, if you try Nitro, it will change your life. It'll change your life. All you got to do is send me a message, 660-620-6283, or an email to patriotmike@gmail.com, or send me a message over on Facebook. That's all you got to do. You can pick up your package of Nitro and your bottle of, they got bundles too. You can bundle it, save money. And go check out the new Nueva Body. It'll make it, I'm going to talk more about it in future shows next week as I figure it all out. But I do appreciate all your support, including just hitting the thumbs up button. Just hitting the thumbs up button. You guys, and it's Friday. You know the drill. Take a day off. It's beautiful. Take the day off. I think we're going to go fishing. Take the day off. Put whatever it is you do for relaxation, go do that. Turn off the TV. Don't worry about it. We'll talk about it Monday. And I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about. Lots to talk about. Anyways, you guys have a great day. I will see you all Monday morning, bright and early. Same bat time, same bat channel. Patriot Mike is out.